Hi, it's exactly a year ago today that my retinal detachment happened, so I thought it was the right time to actually make another film just to let everybody know who might have watched my previous film. And some people very kindly shown interest and asked questions. It's really to do an update as to how things are 12 months down the road and let you know how everything's been and how life is going forwards. So I'm going to not do this quite the same as the other film that I did, where I've just gone on in a great big long monologue and it just went on and on forever, so it was probably quite dull and boring. So this time I'm going to break it up into 3 sections. I'm just going to tell you a bit about myself if you didn't see my previous film, and what happened a year ago today and the outcome of it, and then I'll stop there, and then I'm just going to go into a 6-month period after I had the surgery for my detached retina, up to a point that I had a cataract operation. And then after that I will just do a brief summary of how things are now and the effects that it's had on me. So hopefully this will be of interest to some people, and to those who have asked questions on YouTube, I'm sorry if I haven't replied personally to any of them. It's just that I haven't been able to. Some reason technically it didn't allow me to. So hopefully some of the questions will get answered in these clips. And good luck to you if this has happened to you. I hope you have a good outcome. And there may be some useful things in here that you can take from it. Okay, so I'll start off by telling you a bit about myself. I'm 57, I live in England, and I have been short-sighted since I was 13 years old actually. I had my first pair of glasses. I've worked in an industry where I was looking at computer screens a lot of the time, and whether or not this has had any bearing on my sight I don't really know, but it may have done, because there was a lot of dark room sort of environment as well, with screens in front. So I mean, that's very commonplace now. Of course, a lot of people work on computers all the time. Anyway, my vision problem is short sight. That means that I have good close vision. I did have good close vision, and I can't see distance. I've got very blurred distance vision, which has to be corrected with glasses. My last prescription that I had in my varifocals was actually a minus 6.5 in this eye and minus 6.75 in this eye, so quite short-sighted. The risk of retinal detachment tends to increase with people that have got a minus 6 diopter degree of short sight, because of the shape of your eye. So that was my prescription. Back in 2003 I noticed that I had a floater in this left-hand eye here, which was not a floater, sorry, a flasher. I did have floaters as well, but I had a flasher first of all, before anything else, which was a bit like a sort of a rim light going around the edge of a semicircular object. And I mentioned it to my optician, and they sent me to the hospital to have it checked out. The hospital had a look and couldn't see any problem, but they did say that I had what's called posterior vitreous detachment, which is something that happens in everybody as they get older. The eye is filled with a kind of jelly-like substance, and as the eye ages, parts of this jelly-like substance start to get more liquid, and as it is attached to the retina, it causes what they call traction on the retina. It pulls it, and this is where a retinal tear can happen if you're unlucky. So I was given a little leaflet to say that I had this condition and that I needed to be aware that if I suddenly started to see a lot of floaters or showers of flashes, then I should go to a hospital and get seen, because this could be a retinal detachment and it would need urgent medical attention. So I took my little leaflet home and put it in a drawer, and I always remembered it. But then obviously as time went on, the flasher actually disappeared. So I kind of thought, oh good, everything's all right, it's got better. But what I did get were more floaters in that eye, you know, like little specks and things that used to swoosh around. One of them was almost like a fly. I used to want to swat it, but I realised it was in my eye. But I just lived with those. I thought that was part of ageing process. Then last year, in actual fact, the same day as it is today, it's May Bank Holiday Sunday. It was May Bank Holiday Sunday 2014 that I was in the garden. I came into the house, which was darker. Outside was very sunny, and I came indoors into the lower light level, and I noticed that I had this sort of like slightly grey cloud in my eye, which I checked out was my left eye. And I immediately did think about that little leaflet that I was given all those years ago, and thought, oh dear, could this be the possibility of retinal detachment or tear or something? But it was a Sunday, and I had a guest staying with me, and they come for the weekend, and we were about to go into the local nearby town to do some shopping. So we went into the town. I didn't drive because I was worried about my eye. The other person was driving, and when we got to the town I actually went to an optician's to try and see if somebody could see me. Managed to find one to see me just before they shut, because all of them were busy. He had a very quick look in my eye and said he couldn't see anything obvious, but that if I was concerned I should go to the eye hospital because there was one in the town, which is quite a good one. And unfortunately he probably gave me a false sense of security by saying that, and what he really should have said was, the symptoms that you've described, although I can't see anything, sounds like it could be a retinal detachment or a retinal tear, and you must immediately go to that eye hospital. Do not go home, go straight there now. Had he have said that to me, I think that there was a possibility that the outcome of the retinal detachment might have been much less serious than it actually was. So I feel, sad about that. I feel that if that optician had perhaps taken a bit more time and warned me that I mustn't delay on this, things might have been different. Anyway, it's water under the bridge now, and I have to move on. So I went home that night and went to bed as usual. The next morning I got up and I thought, I'm going to see my own optician in my own town, and I tried to make an appointment. It was busy, it was difficult, but she agreed to see me on the basis that I said I had a problem with this grey area in my eye, and she didn't take her lunch break to see me. So she saw me, had a good look in my eye, and said, I'm going to send you straight to the eye hospital. I'm just going to ring them. She rang them and came back and said, I'm really sorry, they can't see you, so you'll just need to go home and wait until the appointment I've got you for the following day, which was a Tuesday, a normal working day. So it was the following day about lunchtime. So I went home and I sat quietly at my computer because I was told that I shouldn't really do anything strenuous, take it easy, don't do gardening, don't do exercise, don't run around. Which is what I did do. I just sat at my computer, and by the evening, all of a sudden, my eyesight drastically started to worsen. I started to get a dark area that was going opaque, and I think this is possibly when my macula was being pulled off, which is the serious aspect of a retinal detachment. Anyway, I was frightened, of course, and the rate it was worsening, and I rang the hospital and I said, should I come in? Because the optician had instructed me I should do that if it got worse all of a sudden. And the hospital said, no, there's no point in you coming in, there's nobody that can see you. And I said, well, this could be a detachment, and don't I need urgent attention? And the nurse said, well, actually that's a bit of an urban myth. You're all right, come in tomorrow. Anyway, that's not quite true, but I did what I was told, but still worried. Even later on that evening I rang the hospital yet again to see if the response had changed, that I should come in, and I was told, no, stay at home and wait until your appointment. Whether or not I should have listened to that, or I should have just got somebody to take me in a taxi straight to the hospital and just sat there until I got attended to, I'll never know. But once again, it's another water under the bridge situation. You don't know about these things until after the event, what best to do. So I went to my appointment the next day. The eye was worsening by the hour at this point now. When I got to see a doctor, she had a look in both eyes, took her time, and then sat back in her chair and said, well, I'm sorry, it's not good news. You've got a retinal detachment. You're going to need to have surgery. We might not be able to do it today. You might not get back all of your vision, and you might need to have the other eye operated on as well. And so that was like a major whammy. I just suddenly felt like somebody giving me a body blow. And she said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, a week, sort of weak, yes." Got up from my chair and walked out of her office and through the waiting room to go and sit down next to the person that had kindly brought me in to the hospital. Sat down in my chair, and within 2 minutes I'd passed out through absolute fear. And of course that caused a bit of a commotion, and I was put on a bed, and the blood pressure was taken, and I'm given water, and a nurse ran around after me. But it might have got me a bit more attention than I otherwise would have had. But not that that was why I was trying to do it. It was something I couldn't help. Anyway, within about half an hour, I was taken in to see the vitreoretinal surgeon, who was on duty by then, and he saw me and said that he would operate that afternoon, which I was hugely relieved about, because I didn't want to have to wait any longer at the rate it was worsening. And he did tell me that he would do the operation. He hoped that it would only be one operation at that time, but I might need to come back for another one, and probably in 6 months' time I would have to have a cataract operation, because the side effect of the treatment that he was going to give me, which is a vitrectomy, was going to bring on a cataract. And I actually wasn't too concerned about this, because obviously a cataract operation is much more commonplace than a vitrectomy operation or for a detached retina, and lots of people have them and you know, recover very well from them. So I sort of put that to one side and didn't really worry about it. I was more anxious just to make sure that there was a possibility I could get my sight back. So I had to wait probably for about another hour and a half for him to finish all his consultancy, and then I was taken into the theatre. I was very, very frightened. I didn't know what to expect, and sometimes it's better not to know what to expect, because you can't worry about it then. But I just was so glad that I was being taken in and seen to. And the operation was a vitrectomy. So I had the retina was laser welded back onto the eye, back of the eye, and a gas bubble was inserted into the eye to make pressure onto the back of the eye to keep the retina against it. The operation was done quite successfully, and after that I was sent home, and then I had to posture, what's called posturing. I had to lie on my right side for 5 days consecutively, and I was only able to get up for 10 minutes in each hour. So that was very difficult from a practical point of view, you know, eating and washing and anything else, having a bath, washing your hair, all that sort of thing was quite challenging. It could only be done in 10-minute bursts, and I really needed some extra help. So if this ever happens to you, you know, try and get somebody on board that can help you, because it really isn't easy. And I think 5 days was really quite a short period of time in comparison to some people who have much longer that they have to do this for, and sometimes very uncomfortable positions, sort of face down as well, depending on where their problem is with their retina. So I had that treatment was completed, and at the end of my 5 days I was able to sit upright. And probably about 10 days in total after the operation, the gas bubble finally dispersed, and there was nothing bobbing around in my eye anymore. I won't go into great detail about all that, because it's covered in my previous film with also some visuals as to how everything was looking. So basically, suffice to say that once the gas bubble had disappeared, I could once again sort of see what kind of vision I was left with, and I did have vision return, which was a huge relief, but it was compromised quite a lot. The degree of correction that I needed in that eye to focus distance would have gone, I would say, from the where are we, minus 6.75 prior to the retinal detachment to about minus 11.5 or 12. So it had doubled in its degree of short-sightedness, if that makes sense. So the glasses that I had weren't working anymore, and you know, basically I had to just deal with looking through one eye. But I'll stop this here, and I'll have another separate section where I talk about the post-operative recovery, and then getting my cataract operation done. Thank you.